Okay, so now my little video started. Let me turn on the screen above and let me capture your screens. And let's just kind of relax into this a moment here. So making everything happen at once. Oh, okay. That's weird. Okay. Jeez. Okay, I'm sharing your screens. Okay, so I think the best way to start at this moment in time is let's just explore, let's explore a couple things together. Now, think in terms of interactivity. Let's close that. We're going to think in terms of interactivity, and what I did was from last semester, I just downloaded some student work. And we're going to look at it together, and I'm going to critique them based on telling a story with lines. So let's look at the assignment, telling a story with line for starters. Did I play the Andy Goldsworthy video for you all in here yet? I did, right? I thought I did. Okay. So, excuse me, the Telling a Story with Line project used to be in paper, in print. And because we're doing so much more interactivity in this class, I really feel like learning how to create a story interactively is the best step you can take towards helping you with your portfolios and also helping you know how to tell a story. Because when you have something that's interactive, you need to guide the viewer through it. Just like when you create a composition like the color posters we just critiqued, or any of our projects, using certain design elements or using the certain design principles, you're creating a little story for the viewer, you're creating a message, and by your graphics and the graphic elements, you're drawing them into the composition and visually walking them through it. Well, in telling a story, you're essentially going to create a page turner, except it's going to be interactive. And the universal core to the story is you're telling a story, which means it's going to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And you're going to tell a story with line. Now, I don't care if it's Andy Goldsworthy's leaves traveling down a stream and flowing, and you're videoing it. I don't care if it's you doing line drawing, and the line, the horizon line, the perspective line is your story. Here in this one's actually kind of cute. This one was, there it is. Oh, we're in Chrome. I'm not used to Chrome, I'm sorry. So it pulled it up, it pulled the PDF up in here. But you can look at your bottom of your screen and you can see that there's a contiguous line here that doesn't ever break from page to page to page in this story. And it does tell a story. It's the lines of communication and the lines of love, both as a metaphor. But you look at it and it's very clear that the metaphor line is in that story, right? Let's close that one up and come back here. This one, when you ask how you handle line, this student handled line. She did, I think what she did was she decided to do it about her garden. That was the theme for the semester for her. And she took, oh my gosh, it's still loading, sorry. She took countless photographs and she decided that she was going to have a ribbon, which was the metaphor for line, running through all of her photography. And it was all about her little journey through her garden and how she handled her photos and so forth. Let me move this over. There we go. And so she took her photos, and you can see she desaturated them. So she took her photos, she copied a layer, duplicate the background, and one she desaturated, and the other she let the ribbon be saturated in her photo. So what becomes obvious from photograph to photograph is the ribbon is the line and how it carries through her story. And then she actually bound her book herself. And you're not going to have to bind a book because you're making yours interactive. But you can see, again, she carried the theme of nature with the stick and the ribbon and so forth, and created a continuous story using her photography. So how you use line, I leave that ambiguous. I don't want to shape it for you. I do want to make sure that when we're looking at your final composition, we understand where you were headed with it. I'll let you look at those on your own. But where I do want to go, let's take a look here at the downloads folder. And let's just view this story right here in Firefox. Well, let me open it. Let me go to Firefox and try it that way. Let's go to File, Open File, Downloads folder. There we go. So this student, the lines for her were really the lines in the earth. This doesn't have a strong line theme, but it's a beautiful story using a composition. She definitely tells a story. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. When you create telling a story with line, you do have to storyboard it. So you do have to create frames that you consider what happens one step after the next. And all of this was done in InDesign with different illustrations. So she would change her timing panel in InDesign, which is what you're going to start to learn with the next interactive exercise, where things show up and things disappear. It's all about timing. It's like in the animated GIF, things show up and things disappear. And that's what this is. This is bringing images in and having them move from one position to the next. So she had many different layers and applied many different animations to the process of this story. And you can look at the PDF file that's submitted with it, because you will also submit your process with this project in a PDF file. So you're going to take screen captures. But you can see this beautiful transition that's taking place in this story. And this is all done through animation in InDesign and turning on and off layers and having things rotate or spin or show or disappear, which is all of the automatic settings that you can find in InDesign for interactivity. Isn't this amazing? Mm-hmm. I forgot about this one. I pulled these from last semester. And this one was actually so crazy over the top with the amount of time. I told her to turn this into an animated GIF for her final project, because I think she spent probably 2 years working on this, all condensed into whatever week or 2 weeks we have for this project. And I think this is where it ends. It just repeats now on forever. Isn't that beautiful? Let's close that. Let's try another one. Let's go to File, Open, and so this student, actually, her midterm, her whole theme was rain. And her telling a story with line was the story of a raindrop. So cute. And actually, her midterm in the class was, who did the rain midterm? Lori. So Maddie did. So that was her midterm. Her whole year was umbrellas and rain. Or her whole semester, I should say. And again, you could just picture a little storyboard saying, this is what's going to happen, right? And that's what you're going to do for the project. So, this is a line drawing, which is obviously the emphasis of line here. Let me come back to Firefox. I didn't remember these till I pulled them up. Okay, so this is working with buttons and telling a story with line, and that's perfectly fine. You now know how to work with buttons from the Calder project, correct? So again, this is just the next button and the first button, and we know it's a story because it tells you go to the next page or go back home to the first page. So I'm clicking, and then I move to a page, and there's interactivity on one page in InDesign. So now I click to the next page in InDesign, and there's more interactivity that happens, which is little bouncing raindrops. And this is just going to repeat until I go to the next page. And these are things appearing when you click. So you click on a button on that page, and something appears, and something grows. These are automatic defaults in animation and interactivity in InDesign. And here, of course, it's a line drawing and the horizon line of the ground. And this student, I think you've seen her Interact portfolio is all about growing things in gardens and vegetable gardens. And that's just creating a path in InDesign that the butterfly flew on. So you take the butterfly on the outside, you draw a path for it, and you say fly across that path. So this is going to force you to move into your portfolio, isn't it? Because you're going to have to learn how to do these little steps. And again, next page. And the end. So you can see now, actually we've kind of stretched the metaphor for line, which is okay with me. As long as it's obvious that there's a line somewhere going on in there. This student, I forget what she did for this one, because her whole portfolio was about, see, it should show up. Her whole portfolio was about her brother's wedding. Maybe it's loading. Maybe it's taking longer. No. All right, we'll try a different one. What do you think's going on here? Oh, there it is. So this is telling a story with line. So how the student did this one was he drew a line in InDesign and he covered parts of it for every frame that he wanted to play and just put it on a continuous loop. You want to see it again? Because I don't think we saw it from the beginning. Beginning, a middle, and an end. Okay, let's see. So maybe I did something wrong to this one. File, open. I'll try hers again. There we go. So she downloaded stock art from Vecteezy. And she just kept moving the images down this little clothesline to tell the story of their engagement and their wedding. Isn't that cute? So that was stock art that she found and then filled with the photographs. Your lesson here is going to be big in learning interactivity, so you're going to have your hands full. And do you remember the story of the dot and oh, I think these have sound, some of them. Remember the story of the dot and the line? Let me turn up the speakers here, because I think this one for sure has sound.
Are you going to play a video?
Yeah, but it's a quickie, so let's not stop it. This is a student work. So you got to tell somebody what to do.
A line, so simple and yet so elegant. One line could change the design completely. Lines can express different emotions. Chaotic, peaceful, scary, harmonious. Lines can separate or unite. Leave your eye or stop it. With lines, you can make patterns or create shapes. Complicated lines can even make figures. Lines can imitate falling or rising. They can go by very slow or really fast. Without lines, there are no grids and layouts, no order or structure. Lines really are crucial for a design.
So, like I said, open-ended, right? You can go anywhere you want with this. I've had charming little stories, of course, like I told you about this student. I showed you hers before, correct? With the Etch-a-Sketch. You know, maybe your story is a single image. Maybe as you create this type, which is letters covered in yarn, one student started by rolling yarn down aisles in a grocery store. And actually, I think she abandoned the project because it just didn't work out. But she photographed it as it went. Another student followed her cat around the house with a ball of yarn and kept taking screen captures and creating an automatic play on it. So like a multi-state, just automatically playing, rotating through. So start thinking about your project. I'm looking at the time clock. Review the dot and line story and be super clear about the assignment. You are going to have to capture your process. The story you tell should be consistent with your theme. And let's look right now at the Warhol animation, which is your next exercise. So between now and Wednesday, you can all finish refining your 2-page layout, which I'm guessing some of you need to. Yeah. And then also you can work on the interactive exercise, and let's go to that one for here, interactivity. So who finished this project? Somebody did. Who finished the interactive? Nobody here? Oh, how was it, Sophie? Easy. Okay, we like that, don't we? So watch this carefully. What's in front of you, actually?
3 people finished it.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Who else besides Sophie finished it?
Did you want us to change the timing or just leave the timing?
I leave it to you. I do have certain criteria about this project, which is right here in front of you. So Sophie, I was going to ask if you want to demo it. No? Okay, all right. So there's 3 videos here. One is on animation, one is how to export a video, and here's a support video for the Warhol animation. And actually, let's watch it together, but I think I need to turn on the sound in here. So let's see if we can do that.
You want to turn off the recording?
Oh, okay, yeah, let's do that too. Okay, so now that we've taken a look at the Warhol exercise, when you're in InDesign, again, so this is some consideration you want to think about with telling a story with a line. You now know how to make buttons, right, with a multi-state object, so you know how to direct people to do that with any visual you want. Also, with an InDesign document, keep in mind your file format. If you're telling a story with line, that means somebody's going to view it on a computer, and your computer display is wide, not tall. So that's the format of your book, let's say, all right? So you might choose to change the orientation to wide, not tall, and you might choose to turn off facing pages. And again, for interactivity, you should change your workspace up here in InDesign to interactive, and that'll give you all the tools that you're going to use most in an interactive layout. And then there's loads of defaults that are just fun to play with. So, for example, I'm going to turn off my stroke right here. I'm going to go to the fill, and I'm just going to draw, let's say a square, and I'll fill it with a color. And I don't even know what I'm doing right now. I'm just randomly thinking of things. And I'm going to fill it with red, and I'm going to hold my Option and my Shift key down, and I'm going to fill it with blue, and hold my Option Shift key down. I really don't know what I'm doing. And fill it with green and yellow. And ultimately, what? We'll fill it with, what am I missing? Magenta. There we go. Okay. And what I want to show you is I have all of these shapes, and actually I'm going to marquee all of them. And in InDesign, I can go right up here to Effects, and I'm going to make them all transparent so we see how they blend on top of each other. And I'm just going to change their opacity to half so we can see these pretty little rainbow effects. And like I said, I really don't know what I'm doing here. But what I do know is to create this animation timing, I can click my animation panel, I can tear it off, like all panels in InDesign, and I can click here on the red, and it says rectangle, and I'll just call it red because it's going to say rectangle and everything. And I can choose to have it fly in from the left, like that. All right? And then I can click on my blue, and I'll call this blue, and I can have this fly in from the top. All right? And I'm not changing the timing of anything. I'm just leaving it at the preset. Then I can click on the green one, and I name everything because otherwise you don't know what the heck you're working with. And I can have this one fly in from the bottom. And I can click on the yellow, and let me make that yellow. And I can have that one fly, let's see, what do we want that one to do? We want that one to dance. We'll have it pulse. I've never seen one smoke. I'm not sure I know what smoke is, but we'll try that with the pink one. And then here's the pink one, and that's the magenta one. And let's just see what smoke is. It shows us what it is up above. Oh, there's smoke. Okay. All right, we don't want it to smoke. We want this to fly in from the right. And then let's see if we can do this. I don't really know. I'm trying this. I'm going to marquee all of them, and I'm going to select them all. Let's see if this works. Let me just, actually, let's not do that yet because I might screw up the whole thing. And let me just go to preview and see what it is I did. All right? I didn't put it on loop, so it's only going to play once. I'm going to preview it here by clicking the play, and it, there we go.
It worked.
It worked, except the yellow stayed on screen, so I would have to tell it to come in at a certain, be invisible height. So I have to take the yellow one, which I didn't want to sit here, click on the yellow one, go to the animation panel, which I can't find anymore, so I'll go to interactive animation. And what I want this to do is I want to make this invisible until it's animated. So I want to hide it until I've animated it. And now it should play differently. And I can come right down here and click preview here. There. There we go. So these are all default animations. I mean, how fun is that? Then what I was trying to think is I wonder if they could all go up in smoke. That's what I was going to try. So now can I select them all? And I don't know. I don't do this that often. Can I make them all smoke and disappear? Let's try it, right? So let's click on it. No.
You
See?
didn't add on to the old, were you trying to add it on to the old one?
I was trying to add it on to the old one, so this is what's happening to it. So they're each smoking after they do their animation, and that's how the smoke ends. So that's not very successful, is it? So what I do with that one is I'll just go to, here's my mouse, edit, and I'll undo. And I'll back off of that one. But you can see there's lots of presets. I can take the letter, I think I showed you this with raindrops in an animation. I can take the letter I, here. I forgot that I'm not an illustrator. So here's the letter I, and my text box is pretty small for it. Let me make it big. And this is what Maddie did actually for one of her projects. She took a glyph, right? And let's make this round. Let's see if there's Cooper here, which is a super, there, very round. Let's make Cooper 200 points. There. Now I can make Cooper an outline. I can leave it type, or I can make it an outline. So let me just make it an outline. And now it's a vector graphic in InDesign. And I can go to Window and let's make it like a 5% or 10% blue. And actually, let's make it all blue, 100%, and change the opacity of it. And then let's make it 10% here. There, now it's transparent. And now with this, I can move it around and I can create, I think this one's a hoot, which is bounce and smush or something like that. Do you see it somewhere? There's a bounce.
The bounce.
Bounce, here
Oh,
it
there you
is.
go.
Bounce and smush. There it is. Right. And so maybe what we do is we create a bunch of these and they're just all over the page. And we can just loop them. So, and you could change sizes. Think of how much fun you can have with these things. And let me hold. I'm holding my shift key down and I'm selecting all of them. I don't know what effect we're going to get. And we're going to play them on a loop. So click loop, which means they won't stop. And I can go to the timing panel right here. And I can take all these compound paths, which is my letter, and I'm going to put them all up above my shapes. So that's going to be with the lead in here. And now let's see what we got, right? Just for fun. Let's go to Window, Interactive Preview. There we go. And I should hide them until after animating, right? But now they're just going to keep on going. You can also group them so they can do things simultaneously. And now we'll see if they sit in front of my rectangles. They sit behind my rectangles. Right? So you get the idea. You can get all kinds of
How
things
did it
singing
know
and
that it
dancing.
was part of that original slideshow? Did you name it? Did it? The first one you did, and then you put the eyes in it. It still knew it was all part of the same slideshow.
Yes, because it's still part of the same page and the same document.
It was. Okay.
Yes, it is. So that's all I'm going to demo for you today. The idea is really to have fun and to play with this. The best thing I can recommend doing is for telling a story with line. The best thing I can recommend doing for you is, let's go back to the page here, is focus very much on what it is you have to say and what your subject matter is and what you have the most fun creating your project in. You can tell any kind of story you want with it, okay? So just work on the animation. When you do the Warhol project, I think that'll get you far more comfortable with the Andy Warhol, with the animation in InDesign.
Oh, that wasn't recording.
I
Oh, did you stop it?
I did.
Okay.